He seems to be taking it alright. Here comes the wind again. Hey, you can push, hey? Not too fussed about that collar at first, are you, hey? It's alright, Pussy. It's alright. It's alright. Nothing's going to happen. Except you're going to lose all your damn fleas. With that collar on, and people shooting, there's no way they can think you're a feral. Yeah, right, eh? I probably should put your little number tag on there too, shouldn't I, hey? Try to muck around with it for a second, just initially, for the first 5 seconds or so. Because it probably isn't comfortable. Maybe rather tight, but it's sort of... Oh, it's not too bad, I don't think. Is it, eh, bud? If it's tight, I'll see you messing with it some more. And I'll loosen it off a little bit. We got about probably about an inch or so we can loosen it off. Hope it's not too tight for him swallowing, but I'll probably find that out before long. Should be alright. Jeez, it stinks. Don't they stink, hey? Smells like that shit we put on sheep. Smells like friggin' sheep dip to get rid of the sheep lice, which is probably exactly what it is. Hey? I don't know, he's got a lot of fluff there, so it's all sort of pushing the fluff away. So I can stick my finger down there pretty loosely, so it's probably not that bad. And over the next little while, it'll move into place with all him jiggling and running around and sort of sit down below his fur, which it is a fair bit at the front, but not really that much at the back. I was trying to get one of those ones that breaks off when it fucks up, but it's got like an elastic piece. Oh, you can't see it, it's actually built in between there, between the little latch and the rest, and it's sort of, the overhang is over the top of it, but it's about that much of elastic sort of stuff, so if he's about to get hung by it, apparently he can wiggle his way out of it. And knowing him, he could probably just about claw his way out of the bloody thing. Seems reasonably happy anyway. That is a far better reaction than I expected, actually. I only got one, just to see how he'd go with it before I then got it onto him, but onto her. But I'll buy another one for her within the next few days. I've got to go in there again in another 2 days' time. Yeah, interesting. Looking for these bloody jobs. I might as well tell you guys I was going to make another video involving this. There's probably no point. It's funny how some places you go to, it's you know, the joints that had a lot of work, and you go there now and it's just like, we ain't even taking resumes. It's like, holy smoke. There's another joint, and I tend to notice this a lot. Nowadays, there's so many places that will only go through job agencies and won't hire off the street, and it's all like as though, oh, we don't know who we're getting off the street, and it's like, are you stupid? Do you think these job agencies know the people personally? You know, and they don't. You know, and it seems to be more an American thing to hire through job agencies where they ask a whole string of complicated questions, but over here they don't. And this place I went to today, I've been there once or twice before, it's now managed, it's a family-owned business, but it's got an American manager, and he's decided that everything's just going to be hired through job agencies. And I've actually worked there before through a labour hire place, and that's one of the places they use, but no more hiring off the street. The stupid thing about using labour hire, though, is, first of all, you get people who live miles away, and people who have absolutely no farming experience from these labour hire joints. And then you also end up paying an extra $10 a fucking hour just for having these people come through a labour hire joint as opposed to hire them off the street yourself. And yeah, a bit strange. Another thing, I seem to realise I may have been shooting myself in the foot over the last few years. And he's now trying to play with the collar down there, you can't really see. One of the things I noticed over the years, and I've always had a tendency to do this, like a lot of people, you know, want a glorious job, and I've known of guys who, you know, will go like hell looking for all these different jobs. They'll be able to work for a year and a half and then get a good job. I tend to have the idea that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And, you know, instead of sit here for a year and a half chasing around for nice cushy jobs which sort of haven't existed ever since the GFC, or are so few and far between that it's ridiculous, I would rather just get a job easily. So I often go for the lowest common denominator and try and go for places that are shitholes, like the Knackery, because other people don't like to work there, and as a result I make the assumption that I can get in there pretty easily. And I'll tell you, the guy at the Knackery said straight to me, 15, 20 years ago you could easily get a team of people that could handle dealing with dead animals without a problem. And he said, nowadays you are battling to find anyone good. They're all just so bloody soft. And, you know, that's one of the things. Another one that I had as a bit of a surprise today, I ended up going into a place that's advertised in the newspaper for tomorrow. And, well, I got in there before anybody else did. And he sort of looked at it and he's looking through, and two interesting points come up. First of all, he goes to me, so are you going to turn up on time if I employ you? And I said, yeah, of course I can. I said, you know, and I always get ready for curly questions and this shit when I'm handing over resumes. And I said, in the apprenticeship they used to always tell me that, you know, you're always reliable at turning up. And you sort of think like, hell, is it that bad you can't get people to turn up on time, you know? And then he takes another look and goes, geez, you've gone through a lot of jobs. Well, fucking hell, like my resume goes from 2001. Of course there's going to be a lot of jobs. But in that I noticed something as well. Because I try and get jobs that are easy to get, I also often target some of these revolving door shitholes. Because a lot of these revolving door places, and Boomer Nurseries was one of them, and I lasted there for 2 years, almost the entire bloody town has had a brother or a best mate who works there. I shit you not. Just about the entire town. And that is a revolving door place. A lot of people don't make it past about 8 weeks. I was there for 2 years. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that you get a job very easily. Like, you get fired very easily at these revolving door places. But because they get rid of so many people so often, they also have to hire a lot of people. So it means you'll get a job very easily at these places, and you might get sacked over a minor thing, but you'll also get a job very easily. The Piggery has become one of those since the middle of 2014, or thereabouts. Maybe even this time, you know, in 2014, the gay boss become the manager. He replaced somebody else who used to be the manager. In that, they can, between the two bosses, like not including the two bosses, they can hold a staff of around 5 people. In about a year and a half from when he started, which is around the time shortly after I started, in a year and a half, they'd gone through 10 people. Revolving door. They get rid of people very quickly. But as a result, it means it's very easy to get a job there. And you may not last, but, you know, at least you've had money come in. But in that, I've realised that it gives me a bloody lot of jobs on my resume. The guy was right. I do have a lot of jobs on my resume. And it sort of makes you look like you're not a sticker by deliberately targeting revolving door joints. Like I didn't realise it was so few weeks, but it was only about 4 months or 4.5 months I was at that poultry plant. But then I got offered the job at Chinese Boss's Vineyard, and I dropped that pretty much straight away. Like dropped the poultry plant one straight away to take Chinese Boss's Vineyard. But then even there, how long was I there? About, shit, what was it? Piggery 8 months. I think Chinese Boss's Vineyard was 6 months. Then got booted out. Then ended up 2 months with his brother-in-law, and then ended up 8 months at the piggery. So, you know, you sort of look at the resume and it's like, holy smoke, we've got 4.5 months at a poultry plant, 6 months or so at a vineyard, 2 months at a plastering apprenticeship, 8 months at a piggery, and it makes you look like you can't hold down a job just because you purposely go for these places that are known to be revolving door joints. And I heard about the poultry plant because it's so fucking bad that somebody else who'd worked there only lasted 3 days and told me about it. So I thought, oh well, you know, if it's so easy to get a job there and a lot of people can't last, just like the knackery, a lot of people can't handle the knackery, not many people could handle that particular processing, that particular poultry plant, which is the smaller one of the two in that city. So I deliberately went for that as a result, because I knew that a lot of people couldn't handle it, and therefore it'd be easy for me to get a job. But then your resume fills up with all these little jobs that, you know, none of them even equal a full year, and it makes you look like you're a fucking unemployable hobo. So I might have been shooting myself in the foot, all in an attempt to get jobs quickly, because a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, and I've deliberately targeted shitholes and revolving door workplaces to be able to get in easily, because I know that other people don't last, so therefore they have a higher staff turnover, so I won't have to wait too long, and I have a high chance of getting in. But anyway, we'll keep looking. It's a bit of a stuff up, and this is why I went for the piggery initially, was because I preempted an economic issue big time, as we're seeing some of these ones play out lately. I preempted that we're going to run into economic shit. And in the Depression and things like that, what is the one industry that always keeps going? And the one industry that I've had experience in, well, I've had experience in tons of industries, but I've had experience in this industry, and this is one of the industries that will continue on no matter what, no matter how bad economics are. And it's not the toilet paper industry, because a lot of people just change over to newspaper. It is food, because people can't afford not to eat. And so I deliberately targeted the piggery with the hope that if there is any economic shitstorm, I'm going to be in a food production place. And that's why I'm still targeting food processing places or anything agriculture related, because people can't do without food. Yeah, and I've seen a couple of jobs for different things in the building industry and all that. And you just think, is there a point? Like, get in this shit, it goes flat on its face in 6 months, and you're out on your ass with everybody else. You know, I want to get into an agriculture job and be secure in that job, and have been there for a few years as we go through the worst of economic times. Because you've been there for a few years, you know, you won't be, you're sort of more secure as a result, which was the aim of the piggery. But honestly, I could tell within the first 2 months that things were not going to roll in the long term. I knew, you know, after 2 months of being in that piggery, I knew that it was on the downhill run. Just from listening to what the other employees were saying about so many people leaving, and just, you know, seeing some of the bullshit going on with one person who is secure in a job there, who is also a covert narcissist who stabs everyone else in the back by fucking stuff up and then running off to the boss straight away to blame that fuck up on the other person they were working with. And, you know, yeah, you know, me and that person, well, I barely spoke to him. Anyways, that's just a little waffle I wanted to have about jobs.